Welcome gamers to Last Call Gaming, the weekly gaming news show that keeps you up to date on all things video games. And on today's episode, guys, here's a look at what we're discussing. But as always, guys, there's all that and more. So if you want to hang out, grab yourself a beer and let's talk games. Welcome gamers to Last Call Gaming. We're on episode 31. My name is Craig Perales, and the man who goes to LA and back with me, Mandrew Montemayor.
It was a smooth ride.
It was quite smooth, quite adventurous. Now guys, if you're looking at the title of the episode, it is about the Game Awards. But more importantly, we didn't just watch it, we went to them.
Oh.
And Andrew was the one that set up the trip. It was fantastic. Andrew, before we get too far into the show, I don't know, talk to me a little bit about the adventure.
I had a blast. I thought it was absolutely great. The awards themselves were phenomenal. Like, it was really cool. It's a lot different experience going into there than seeing it, as I'm sure with everything. But even right now, we were watching some of the musical stuff or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I guess watching it from here, I don't think it's as good. But when I was sitting there, I know that it was a lot better than, whatever.
Yeah, instantly watching some of those performances, we were just like, wow, it was booming when you were there. And surprisingly enough, our seats were a lot better than I thought they were going to be.
Yeah, we had really good seats. We were very close. And not to mention, that was like the most comfortable thing I've ever sat through.
Man.
That thing was pretty long. That normally when you sit through anything that long, you're sitting there tossing and fucking turning the whole time. I don't think I moved once.
Because it was a Microsoft theater, right? Yeah, it had nice seats. It had big cup holders in the front of the seats, but the odd thing was you couldn't bring any alcohol with you.
That's probably so it stays as nice as it is.
Yeah, right. They don't want white trash coming in there, ruining their seats, ruining their prime lumbar supporters. Yeah. But so guys, let's get into what it actually. Well, do you want to get into somebody who we talked to, who we saw, who we brushed by?
Yeah, we can give you just a quick little recap before we go into everything else. Yeah. I mean, you can always watch the Game Awards. But...
I was a little starstruck, so we actually. Who was the first guy you caught that was walking by us?
Oh, Major Nelson.
Yeah, we were coming around the side. And Andrew was just like, hey, look, Major Nelson, we've tried to run back and get a picture of him. Talk to him for a minute.
Yeah, at least he said hi to us. How'd you like the show and stuff like that. Really, really nice guy. But actually, the first person I met was Greg Miller.
Yeah, that's right. When
nobody else was around to get a picture, and he was kind of in his seat, so I didn't want to be like, hey, whatever.
Greg Miller from
like
Kind of Funny.
Yeah, but he was crazy, crazy nice. Actually, a really, really cool guy. And then I really missed a big opportunity because I seen Miyazaki, the person who's known for like Dark Souls, one of my favorite people ever, and I thought he looked familiar, but just because I was so busy and walking around and stuff, I didn't think anything of it. And I kind of like looked back at him a few times, and I was like,
he probably caught your eye too.
I was just so busy with everything else, and it was before the show started that I didn't want to miss where my seat was, and we were like kind of cutting it close on time. That I wasn't like thinking, I was like, oh, that guy looks really familiar, and it's no shit. I watched 1,000 interviews with him, so I really fumbled that one.
But you did snag the Akumi Nakamura and the Shuhei Yoshida.
Yeah, Akumi Nakamura and then Shuhei Yoshida, because he was walking by. Both crazy, crazy great. Especially Akumi, she didn't want to get in the. She didn't think that we knew who she was because I only said Shuhei because I'd only seen him. I didn't see he was walking with her. But we got a picture with both of them too.
But the golden goose that got away was Norman Reedus walked about not far away from us, said, hey, Norman, it looked like you wanted to come back for that handshake pump, but I chickened out hard.
Yeah, we kind of felt bad, too, trying to stop him, especially because then you get swarmed by, like, a million people like that. But he did stop and say hi to us and, like, hey, guys, or whatever, kept going.
And then we got some Hideo.
Yeah, Hideo really stiffed us if you watch our video when we create the clickbait version.
Yeah, it was almost like he was giving us a stiff arm right there, but out of everybody, he was the one that kind of had the most people chasing him.
Right, and so I think we saw Norman before him, which surprisingly, I don't know how Norman got out.
I would say maybe 2 minutes before that.
Yeah, so... Either way, saw a lot lot of really cool people. So
and then we ended up seeing Adam Kovic at the, what was the bar, Dublin's?
Yeah, Dublin's. Adam from Inside Gaming.
Inside Gaming. He was really cinema.
So yeah, he was actually really cool
I had my seat number in my pocket. He pulled it off. He's like, where were you guys sitting? Yeah, those are good seats.
Yeah.
He put it back. I was like...
Yeah, he's a really funny guy too, so...
So that was some of the adventure we had, guys, outside. But let's get into more of what.
Oh, actually, dude, one more quick thing.
Who slid in?
The hotel we were staying at.
Oh, the Wyndham.
Yeah. We're staying at this, the Ramada by Wyndham.
The Ramada by Wyndham?
Is what it's called.
Two in the same, one in the same?
Either way, they're filming like a Netflix movie or something like that. Yeah, and so it was like half of it was closed down, but it was cool to see like all the set and shit like that.
Yeah, so when we got there, we thought this thing was under like a complete renovation. Andrew and I actually tried to do a show at the hotel, but it was so loud, so noisy, so many people walking by. And maybe we'll put up a still frame of us trying to do that video. I didn't really care for it. I figured we'd give you guys a longer episode. But when we were ready to go to the Game Awards, we actually ran into one of the security guys, and we asked him what was going on. And he said they were shooting a movie, The Prom, there, that's starring Nicole Kidman, Meryl Streep, James Corden, Key Michael from Key and Peele. And I guess it's a musical. And the weird thing was, is all the places a guy in LA we could meet, he was actually from Laughlin.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he was a hometown hero. So
for those not in the know, that's right across the river from us, literally 5-minute drive. So.
Yeah, so we decided not to do that episode and give you guys this episode, recap what we just did, and then kind of go over the show itself. So
all in all, 10 out of 10 experience. I had a blast.
Yeah,
except for the traffic.
That traffic, man. LA gets worse and worse every time we go there. Yeah. So let's move into it, guys. So again, the thing, if you want to watch it, we're definitely going to leave a link in the description. This is a 3 to 4 hour event. We don't have time to go over all of it. We probably already wasted a good chunk of time. I don't see the counter going, so Andrew, hit it. So we're just going to go over the highlights of what happened, which is the world premieres that came out and some of the stories that they talked about. So first out the gate was the performance by Church. And again, like Andrew was saying, you had to be there to kind of more appreciate it, because when we watched it, it was, it looked okay.
Yeah, it was a lot louder in there. Like, maybe it was just where we were sitting too, because I don't know how. Actually, from the back, it felt like it was fine too, but also felt like her voice was a lot higher in person than watching it through the TV as well too. So
the first award goes of the night, but then the big thing that kind of kicks off, and originally I was kind of like, why are they starting with this? It felt like more of an ender, but now that I rewatched it, I was like, I'm kind of glad they did. Was the Xbox Series X was announced, and a picture was shown.
Yeah, and that was the biggest surprise. That's the one thing I didn't expect to see that there at all. They came out, showed it. It looks kind of like a tower. And then they had Phil Spencer come out and talk about it as well, too. And that was like I think the most surprising for me, second most surprising thing of the night for me, because that's nothing I would have expected at all. If you told me to guess that would be there, I would not have said that.
So let's talk about the look, because this thing's going wild on all kinds of memes and websites and stuff. It is just essentially a rectangular box, straight up like a smaller version of a PC tower. Instead of being more rectangular, it's more squared.
Right.
And people are giving it shit, but like, I don't really know why. Like, if you were to lean that thing down, if that's how they showed it, and it was a horizontal view instead of a vertical view, it would just look like a bigger Xbox One X. So I don't know what people are mad about. Maybe just because there's nothing fancy about it. There's nothing that stands out.
I don't care that it's fancy, and I don't know that that's what people want, because the original Xbox isn't fancy, and there's pictures out like this thing's actually a lot smaller than the original Xbox. Actually, the One X standing vertical is taller than this thing.
Gino sent me a thing, and it had a comparison. I think the last one was
a
banana.
banana.
And it's actually the smallest one. It's just kind of the thing. I think a lot of people were just naturally expecting the horizontal view, because the 360 was one of the ones that kind of was shown as the vertical stance. But
it doesn't bug me.
On paper, I don't think it looks bad.
I think anyone needs to get over it, because realistically, like, I went home too and I was playing, and then my cousin was talking about it. I was like, oh, what do you think about how it looks? And then it triggered my head. I'm like, oh yeah, I should look down at my console. And I'm like, when do I ever look down at my console that I care? Like, it's sitting there. Like, I set it up one time to where it looks nice, and I don't ever look at it again. And when I bring people over, I'm never like, oh, hey, check out this sleek console. Like, as long as it doesn't look like a fucking train wreck. Or, like, if it looked like that weird PlayStation V thing, that's an ugly console. But as long as it gets the job done, plays well, and does everything that I need it to do, then realistically, half the time I'm playing with the lights off anyways.
That's so funny. So the other thing I would say that was even more of note is, and you caught it because I didn't see it at first, was the controller now. It has that extra. Not only does the D-pad now the full the full circular directional button, it's got what we assume is a share button.
Yeah, because I looked at a close-up picture afterwards too, and it has like that little like share symbol, like the square with like an arrow out. That's usually the symbol for share, and so that's now like 1, 2, like third right there in the middle of the controller. So that's kind of cool. I mean, especially if you're just recording something quick or you want to share something. Who knows what you can share with whatever their new features are. So either way,
and it does seem like if the Stadia's controller has something like that, the rumor anymore that PS5 has something like that. It would only make sense that the Xbox Series X is going to have something like that. And that's just where we're going. We're moving into people that are just ready to quick stream. And it seems like every one of the consoles are prepared to do that.
And I think that was the big thing, too, was some people, I don't know how that'll play out down the road, but the name being the Xbox One or the Xbox Series X. Like, I can see it being a little confusing later on, but if you're in the know, I personally don't care.
Yeah, and again, every Xbox name is confusing, so
and they
nothing new there.
I mean, at least they didn't just show the console, because then they showed a game to go with the console, which was Senua's Saga now, right?
Yeah, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 was the first game they showed off, showing that Microsoft just purchased Ninja Theory. This thing looked so goddamn good. I thought it was the actual chick doing it. This thing looked like a movie trailer at first.
Yeah, it looked crazy good.
So if this is and they were saying it was all in-game engine, so I mean, this thing was running quite smooth. I know it's turning a lot of people off because outside of maybe PC players, because it was cross-platform at first. Now, if this is an exclusive to Xbox Series X, then, you're losing quite a bit of player base. But, I mean, we're living in an age where exclusives need to start selling some systems, and that's a game that I know a lot of people are ready to play.
And that's the thing, though. I didn't hear anyone bitch and moan that Spider-Man's exclusive. Why did that need to be exclusive? Spider-Man's something that's previously been on previous consoles. But if you actually go back and look, though, because I'm not a fan of buying out a studio just to buy that exclusive right. For something like that. But Ninja Theory actually said, it was a weight lifted off of our shoulder that Microsoft purchased us. We were glad that they purchased us because now we don't have to look for that publisher. That's why the first game is only $30 and they made it an 8-hour experience for whatever it is because they didn't have all that clout. They didn't have anything to fall back on if this didn't work out well. And they personally said that that's a weight lifted off their shoulders. So if you're helping out a company and you happen to acquire something, then sure. But if it's someone went out and bought From Software tomorrow, that company doesn't need any help because they're booming. That would be something that I would make that argument for.
And Xbox, or Microsoft more rather, isn't afraid to let other games eventually go cross-platform.
They
so
who's to say Minecraft?
Or Cuphead when they got it over to Switch. Who's to say in a year or so they do allow it to go over to a PS5 or something like that. Because if you haven't played Hellblade 1, it is a really good game. It is a short game, but it's awesome. I believe it's still on the Game Pass. So again, if you have the Game Pass, go play it.
It's on my backlog.
The other thing, guys, and they kind of sprinkled this out throughout the show, and we wanted to give note to it, was the Facebook gaming stuff that they talked about. Was
the Facebook gaming community thing?
Yeah, how they showed 3 different things. It was the girls from the Middle East who were developing their own game. There were the veterans that play instead of trying to meet up with maybe a therapist. How gaming was a positive
kind of
outlet
help with
for them.
PTSD or talk about your experiences.
And then the last one was a kid that I believe he was using the Roblox engine to develop his own game that kind of battled depression since he had a suicide thing. So that was another really, really positive message. And I know at one point they kind of addressed them. I think they all got up and did a picture of the audience.
They brought them all there, and I thought that was actually one of my favorite things that they showed throughout the show was just different people who are going above and beyond in the gaming community, not just to play games, but to help out other people. So I thought that was really, really cool.
Yeah, and Microsoft is one of those guys that do, the pad, the handicap pad. So the more stuff we can move into that reaches awareness for certain type of gamers, whether you're battling like a mental illness or just dealing with something. I like that they shed light on it, and it wasn't just once; it was 3 spectrums of that.
And then they had stuff outside of that, which kind of pertains to it a little bit. They showed, I don't remember her name. I just know that her gamer name is Ewok, which she's a deaf esports player, the first female player for FaZe. They actually did a little highlighted segment of her talking about her experience, how it is being deaf, and even her saying, it's crazy to think I was small and nobody was really watching my streams. And I was kind of happy with that, and then I just blew up. And so it's cool to see someone go from whatever to nothing. That I don't think she's like a ninja or something like that. That's that famous, because I know who he is outside the gaming realm. I didn't really know who she was, but either way, I thought it was really cool to show her a highlight as well too.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm glad that they did that. But let's move into the next one. The next one I want to bring up is the first game that the first trailer they showed that is out for the that's going to be out for the PlayStation 5. It was kind of what they tagged at the bottom.
And they said that's the first time you'll see that tag on there too, is PlayStation 5.
And the game was Godfall. Now, the trailer, this is a game developed by Gearbox and Counterplay Games. The trailer looked good. I think it's, Andrew, you were kind of not disappointed, swayed that it was getting maybe a little more hype that it deserved because we didn't see any gameplay. It was just a really good looking teaser trailer.
I'm not disappointed by anything, but I just seen some people saying like, "Oh, what if Xbox had the show and they showed that RIP Senua, they showed Godfall." I'm like, that didn't show me anything. The same way Senua didn't show me anything. It looks absolutely great.
I think that's I take it as that they both look. They were showing off what the Series X is gonna do and what the 5 is gonna do, and those both look cinematic experiences.
But Final Fantasy looks a lot different when you're watching a cutscene than when you go into the gameplay, especially with a game like 15. Not to say that it doesn't look good while you're playing, but I didn't see anyone with a controller playing anything, so I don't know how you can make that assumption. I actually personally thought, because it kind of not looked clunky in a bad way, but like the way their armor was with the tassels and stuff, I actually thought it was another Darksiders game at first. Because I'm not huge on the Darksiders, but that's what I thought it was going to.
Yeah, because they kind of talk about this like Armageddon and how, obviously Godfall's in the name, and how it kind of looks like it revolves around that. I don't want to say biblical or like an angel and demon theme, but...
Oh, yeah, because it said something about that.
Yeah, he goes, like the end of days. This for the Armageddon.
Yeah, the Armageddon. Yeah, so I was like, oh, okay.
I had to say, though, when I thought that one quote, when Thanos is like, read it, run for it, run from it, destiny arrives, he does a little thing in there that kind of sounded Thanos.
Yeah, after you showed that to me, I was like, yeah.
And I was like, so I like that they kind of... And because they all had kind of like those nice deep voices, and they have this nice kind of like upscaled battle armor, so...
I think that armor kind of reminded me of Final Fantasy 12, the Judges armor.
Yes, exactly, yeah, the Judges. So, check that out. That was the first one that had the PS5 on it. But guys, and the next one we want to talk about was Switch's big game with Square Enix, which was Bravely Default 2 coming in 2020. It looked really good.
The first one is a beautiful game as well, too.
I just got to say, like, unlike the Wii, who sold record numbers, but it was always a secondary console. It was always like, anyone that had an Xbox also had a Wii. Anyone that had a PlayStation also had a Wii. The Switch, and I know for a lot of people it already is at that point where this can just be your main console. Like, it's getting so many... It's no longer just a Mario, Zelda, Donkey Kong dumping ground. Like, it's getting more third parties as well as pushing on these beautiful looking first parties. So the Switch just continues to grow in its status. I mean, and that was a perfect game to show off that they're gonna get.
Yeah, and I mean there's a lot of Switch games that had nominations too. I mean, I don't think we have this on the list because
it was the best family game. It was all Nintendo.
Yeah, the family was like all Nintendo, I think, except for one thing, which Luigi's Mansion 3 ended up taking that one home. With either way, Switch was almost in like every single category.
So the other thing we want to talk about, guys, if you are a big League of Legends fan, there was, I'm going to say rumors, but there was circulation that they're going to branch out from more than just what they normally do. And this takes place in these spin-off games with two different developers. One was Airship Syndicate, which recently did Nightmare Battle Chasers, I believe, and who are currently doing the new Darksiders Genesis game, and Double Stallion. Each game, Ruin King and Convergence, are going to be these two standalone games from the minds of League of Legends. I like that they're willing to branch out. I like that they know they have this huge property that's amazing, and they're gonna go, you know what? Let's make some more games for other type of gamers, because these are, I believe one of them was kind of more of a fantasy based, the other one was a little more sci-fi. I don't have a problem with that.
No, I thought it looked cool, and I mean, why not branch out? You don't only have to make MOBAs, and you have this rich history and this lore and stuff that you've been working on for that universe, and that's fine. So, why not do something like that? Make something a little bit different, and who knows, maybe someone who just watches that stuff that could be the thing that gets them, not into the MOBA, but if you're into it, maybe watching your streams, your tournaments, your whatever, that sort of thing.
Yeah, maybe even turn you on to some esports, right? You're going to back up this game, you're going to go, oh, let me see what the League of Legends teams is up to, so... I like that they have the gusto, the balls to step out and do something different. The other game we wanted to get into was Dungeons & Dragons Dark Alliance. So this is the studio that Wizard of the Coast, TUQUE, 2K, Took Games, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. This is going to be their first game at it. This follows Dritz, however you want to pronounce the Dark Elf, the Dark Drow name, and the Companions of the Hall. This is going to be a co-op couch action RPG game. This is the second big AAA title they're doing besides Baldur's Gate 3 that's set to come out. You saw it. Anything look good to you? Are you a big fantasy, like D&D style game player?
I'm a fan of like the setting and maybe trying to play something like that. Like, yeah, I like Baldur's Gate, but I would never sit down and play like a tabletop, something like that. So again, this could be that thing that gets me into the tabletop. If I really like this, I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'm not giving it a fair shake. Maybe I should try something else.
And again, this is one of those things where you don't get to see gameplay. It's just kind of like a trailer put together to show off who's in it.
In-game cinematics. I mean, usually it all says in-game running footage, but from what part of the game?
Yeah, well, I liked how the trailer was showing it. It was like they'd be running, it'd be showing like their face, and then their sword and whoosh, cutting them out. So, kudos to them, because this is like the first game that they've been able to put out that fills that gap I'm looking forward to it because that's the D&D nerd in me. But the next one we wanted to get into, and me and Andrew were just talking about this again, was the Weird West. This was the studio or development team that was from the guys that did Dishonored and Prey. Their new team, Wolfeye. Andrew, we were just looking at it. I don't know. What were your initial thoughts?
I thought it looked pretty good. At first, I was like, oh, man, kind of another weird Western. And I was a little disappointed because I personally, from what I tried, didn't like that Dead of West or West of Dead, whatever that game is, the Ron Perlman one. After trying it, I was like, I don't really like it. It feels too clunky. But it's just not for me. It's not my style, I guess. This, I actually think looks really good, especially when it starts getting into like the weird like satanic stuff or whatever and everything. So it's like a haunted, spooky West or whatever. I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. Like, I'm a lot more down for that, depending on how it plays, because you don't see how it plays, but it looks good.
Yeah, I thought it looked interesting. Because it's kind of like that top-down view. But we were just kind of figuring out, like, well, who are you playing? Because some of those scenes were just the monster walking around that looked like he was the main player, but then the next one was the cowboy kind of cruising through these towns. So I was kind of a little more interested in that.
Yeah, where he's got like the gun or whatever, and it says that you can have the option to either be a villain or be a hero within whatever. Because then it shows the dude, killing bad things, and then it shows the other guy like robbing a bank. It looked like a bank, anyways.
So the next one, I know Andrew wanted to get into this one, was they had the longest Ghost of Tsushima trailer that they had so far. So Andrew, your initial thoughts? I know this is the game you're
I actually thought it looked really, really good. Because I thought in my initial ideas it was going to play maybe more like a Sekiro or something like that. But it seems more like it's a mixture of kind of that-ish with maybe like Assassin's Creed, because he's running, he's doing stealth, hiding between stuff, and then jumping off buildings and just like kind of stealthing people. And so you're more kind of like maybe a shinobi or something like that. Ooh. And so I thought that looked really, really good. It kind of made me feel like more what people have been clamoring for with a Eastern Assassin's Creed, which is something that I've been wanting. I think that this would fill that gap. And the game's beautiful. I thought at first, like, that there was one of the dudes, I was like, oh, I don't think it looks that good. Like, it's kind of weird because this game's always looked great. And then as it got more and more and more, especially the setting is beautiful, especially those golden leaves. Yeah. Or then when he's riding the horse and, like, through that white field and stuff like that.
You like how they combined it with the confetti drop and then the fucking orchestra?
Yeah.
Kicks on. That was when it got really cool. I was like, oh, nice. So it was one of these trailers that when you get to see it with that orchestra, I was just like, damn.
Yeah, because remember that dude tearing up the flute?
Oh, yeah. And you don't even get to really appreciate that, because we were watching the game, we're like, man, when you were there, that guy was hammering on that thing, and like, it didn't do it justice. But that game, I know, is on a lot of people's radar. This was, you said, by Sucker Punch, is that right?
Yes.
So this was a game that, and it's another PlayStation exclusive.
That's PlayStation exclusive. Oh, and they also said summer 2020, which I don't think they ever put a firm date on it. So it's nice to see that maybe that delay on, unless it was set to be the start of the year, that delay from The Last of Us didn't really push out. So it seems like maybe you might get two huge games like back to back, like not back to back, but within a few months of each other. Yeah,
because I know one of the big questions was their delay, right? Because when we were going through that a month or so ago, when all these games kept getting pushed back, this was one of them. It doesn't seem, if it was affected, it's not by much. Summer 2020, right around the corner. So, but we got to end it with the best trailer, or at least in terms of the stories, the best trailer that came out, which was Fast and Furious Crossroads. This game blew everything else out of the water. Joking. This thing looked like, and I hate to be mean, dog shit.
Well, first they bought out Michelle Rodriguez and Vin Diesel to show off the game. But the problem is, it looks like Vin Diesel tried to program the game himself too, not just act in it.
So it's kind of odd that this was the game they put towards the end of the show, in terms of what we were able to see.
It's a huge franchise and name, so I guess I can see why.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know if there's... It looks like it's in early development still. Like, the fact that they had that long of a trailer even out, or it looked like it could have been like a mobile game, and it's not. Like,
At first, I was a little more hyped for it, because I thought it was like a street racing game, because I don't feel like we really have anything else like that. It used to be like Drive Club or, anything like that that's actually like street racing. But then, and it got over
Midnight
the top. Midnight Club, not Drive Club. Yeah, something like along those lines, because I was really like those, or like the older... Need for Speeds and stuff, where it's just all about street racing instead of like this over the top action stuff,
which is how Fast and the Furious used to start out as.
Exactly, and that's more what I was kind of fond of, and I was like, okay, that's cool. But then it got over the top, and there's cars with like gun cannons and shit on them and stuff. But the worst part is like the lip syncing is terrible on that.
That was the main thing that came out. I was just like, none of this is even matching up. Everything they're saying does not match anything. So this thing might once it gets polished, maybe something that might be playable.
I'll say I'm not looking forward to it, but
at
it's
first
there.
I was just like, I don't know why you top it off, but Vin Diesel still looks like he beat the shit out of you.
Oh, dude, he's fucking yoked, and he was sitting on the standing on the other side of the stage.
And just like, god damn.
Yeah, because the stage is wide from left to right, and we were far right, and he was far left, and I could fucking still see him ripping through his shirt.
So, guys, there is a ton more things to watch, way more world premieres. I do want to say, though, this was a show that I think was almost better than watching an E3. It was nonstop world premieres. It was nonstop trailers. Every once in a while, they'd sprinkle in some awards. And I think if you were to watch this paid off. This was a good end of the year show.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it was absolutely great. Like, I think Jeff Keighley it's been getting better and better and better, and this year I thought it was great.
So let's there's a bunch of awards that they were doing. Some of them they would actually have people go up and accept the award. A couple of them they would just rattle off back to back to back. So we're not going to get
for a show that's already fucking 3 hours.
We're not going to get into all of them, but there was 5 categories that Andrew and I had our eye on. So we will just kind of briefly go over those, say the winner, and then our reaction to it. So the big one that I had my eye on was action game, and this was between Devil May Cry 5, Gears 5, Metro Exodus, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Astral Chain, and Apex Legends. Devil May Cry 5 took it, right? That was the one that Norman Reedus actually
presented it. My almost best friend that I almost met.
The one that got away.
Norm, you don't have $1,000 to lend me right now. I'm not very liquid. I'm not very liquid, Norm.
It's one of those things where you look at that lineup. Astral Chain was received very well. Apex Legends, won other awards that night. Metro Exodus, Call of Duty, I think was the fan favorite to win. Gears 5 was big, but I loved Devil May Cry 5.
I didn't think that Gears was going to win. I actually thought Call of Duty was going to take it. And I loved Call of Duty, and I wouldn't have been mad at it because this year's Call of Duty, I think, is great.
Yeah, I loved it. Devil May Cry 5.
But I'm really glad that,
because it's a great game. You play it, combo, hack and slash, and cut him up. It was a great game. I got a chance to play it, so I'm glad that took it home. The next big one that we had our eye on is multiplayer, right? We live in a world where multiplayer is a key component to every system, every game we play. So those nominees were the Borderlands 3, Apex Legends, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Tetris 99, Division 2. The winner of that was Apex Legends. And kudos to them, man, for a game that nobody was ready for, nobody prepared for, had no commercials or any type of advertisement, dropped in, laid a bomb, and then takes home multiplayer.
I was more actually surprised because I feel like that game's kind of been dropping off and that it's not like what it used to be. I don't ever really hear anyone talk about that game.
You think something like this gives it a resurgence?
And maybe it could. I don't see why not. I actually was surprised to see Tetris 99 on there.
That was my big one. I was like, Tetris 99, wow, there's that big. Because you look at all the other games that it's going up against, Tetris 99 stands on its own 2 feet compared to everything else. Like, that is just a game where I'm like, maybe I should play it.
Actually, that's another one I thought Call of Duty was going to win. I thought Call of Duty would win that one for sure.
Yeah, so those were 2 big ones I had. Andrew, your next one was narrative. I know you had your eye on that one. The contenders in that was Plague Tale, Control, Death Stranding, Disco Elysium, and Outer Worlds. Now, who actually took that was Disco Elysium, but you look at that, that's another good one where you're just giving out that narrative story play. Those were some heavy contenders, and the fact that game won,
I was really surprised because a lot of other games, like Death Stranding, seemed like it was going to mop up in awards because it was nominated for like a ton
Death Stranding was
things. And sort of Control seemed to be doing a lot better than what I thought it was going to be doing too. And I had already known that I've seen that Plague Tale game before, and that's actually something I'll probably pick up now.
I believe it's on sale. I think they popped up a commercial saying that game's on sale. I don't know if it's 50% off or what, but I know it's out on sale right now. So. But Disco Elysium, that was one that really just skated under my radar. I want to pick it up now because that thing cleaned house on a few awards.
Yeah, and that's something I don't think I had even really heard until I seen it. So maybe Let
me see. Outer Worlds, I'm surprised that one didn't take it. Death Stranding was big. So the next one I know you had your eye on was art direction, and now the contenders in that were Control, Death Stranding, Gris or Grizz.
I think it's Grease.
Grease. Wild Hearts and Sekiro and Link's Awakening. Who did you think was initially going to win that?
I thought actually Link's Awakening was going to win that because that's like a Nintendo darling game. A lot of people love it. A lot of people, I know some people hate the new art direction. I personally think it looks absolutely great. So,
and the actual winner of the art direction was Control. So Control did get an award or two out of that.
I felt Death Stranding would have won over Control because Death Stranding by far is a way better looking game.
Yeah, I mean, to each their own, but I would say. If you had to stack them up against each other, that game is probably the better looking game. Control did have a very unique art direction, and that's, I guess, what took the win.
Oh, that's why I thought Death Stranding would for sure, because they have like the crazy fucking goop and like all the weird villains and shit like that. Like that game's like got all the over top, or like even the babies and all the weird stuff. So that game was over the top with
maybe it went
his
too
style.
far in that direction. That, not that Western audience. That dumbed down Western audience wasn't ready for.
Oh yeah, they only understand shooters.
So next year when he makes or next 10 years when he makes Death Stranding 2, we'll be ready for it. And then guys, the actual game of the year, right? We can't talk about the game of the year show without saying what the game of the year was. And the nominees for that were Control, Death Stranding, Resident Evil 2, Smash Brothers Ultimate, Outer Worlds, and Sekiro. Now that's the one that it was anyone's game.
Yeah.
And the winner of that actually was.
Well, who'd you think was gonna win?
I thought it was going to be Death Stranding.
I thought it was gonna be Death Stranding as well, because it had already won it at like a few other websites and stuff like that. Sekiro actually took that one home. Surprisingly, I really in my heart was wanting Resident Evil 2 because I didn't think Sekiro was gonna stand a chance, because that is a lot more niche game. It's a lot harder. It's a lot harder to get into. I've seen on a lot of forums, a lot of people pick it up and put it right back down because they cannot do it. And that's nothing against you. That's just the style of game that it is. That my heart stopped when they announced that game for the win, because I was so surprised. That was actually that was one of my favorite moments. Was that fact that they won that game, because I was so surprised by it.
Yeah, and that was a good lineup. I mean, Control was fantastic. Death Stranding, we haven't got our hands on it yet, but I mean, that was probably the biggest surprising thing. Out of everything it was nominated for, I don't think Death Stranding took home anything.
I think they won one, and I think it was for like best soundtrack.
Something that was like not what was expected of them. A lot of people thought they were going to take home. I mean, almost everything we named so far, they were in that. And
they were in a majority of the categories, but I think they won one early in the night, and I think it was for like best musical direction or something like that is what it was.
So that was the game of the year, guys. Now, we're actually on some decent time. Andrew, do you want to throw in a few riffs? Should we get into some riffs?
Yeah, we can get them.
Okay, let's get into a little bit of riffs.
This beer sucks.
The peach? Is the peach not agreeing with you? No, I'm on number 2.
I know, I'm trying to finish mine, but...
You know what? The first sip wasn't great, but, you know, once you get to the second one, it kind of just... It's real peachy. Actually, hey, I could drink a peach for hours.
I'm trained out for a lobe.
Are you?
Oh, yeah.
You're lobing? Here, take mine.
Oh, tradesies. No, that beer sucks. It's just like too bitter for me.
This is why I can't let Andrew do the shopping around here, because he comes
comes
back with peach golden ales.
We tried something new.
This is trial and error, because we're drinking it and they're not paying us for it.
Hey, they said it's an Arizona favorite.
Yeah, but 10B? Should have learned our lesson. So guys, we're going to do a couple of quick riffs just so we can let you know a little bit more news that happened earlier in the week. So the Resident Evil 3 trailer came out.
Right.
And our
last
episode, we just talked about it, and we were kind of curious of, you know, how it was actually going to move in a direction. The trailer looks fantastic. Any opinion I had on how Jill looked is completely eradicated.
Except for the back of her hair seems to be the weirdest thing for me to see for some reason.
But when it looks like that little booty's popping, I'm not looking at her hair.
It looks like it's really like way too like thick or something. I don't know.
It has like a poof to it, like this weird bounce. Maybe out of all the things you could have put finishing touches on, at least make it the back of her head.
Yeah, that was the only thing I thought looked weird was her hair, and that they need to change that. But other than that, I'm happy with everything else. It's a gorgeous looking game.
And a big trailer that came out.
Yeah, they showed a big trailer with gameplay, and then they even showed a special message from the creators afterwards, and they showed some gameplay.
Really broke it down. Well, because now we're aware that Project Resistance, the online component that was with it, is going to be bundled with it.
Right, because that's going to be the online part of it.
So now if you're getting now a good game if it's even close to how good Resident Evil 2 was, you've got now this online feature that looks good as well. And then, was that from the bonus messages, or did you find that out differently, that it was a...
No, I think that's part of the original trailer, was that one where because it says that towards the end that it's bundled together.
Okay, so that's happening, and, I mean, nothing to be mad about.
Nah, I think it looks great. It seems like you get more bang for your buck. Hopefully they keep, like, what happened with Resident Evil 2, because Resident Evil 2, I think, was phenomenal. That was my personal game of the year for this year. And then, I like 2, kind of maybe what seemed like a little bit more, because 3's like the one that I played the least, but I don't remember there being a lot of other people in the city. That's always something that I've wanted, is to see other survivors, whether or not they die, however, even if you leave their fate unknown. But running into people while you're doing stuff is always something that I wanted. Versus, I know that there's the standout couple, like at the original beginning of 3, there's the dude who locks himself in like the back of a fucking giant ass truck. But on this one, Jill's like crawling under like a security gate, and this other dude's scrambling to get in. You see some zombies coming, but there's other people just like running. So it's not like it's just everybody's dead. And that's something too that Jill says, like, how can this many people be infected? And so it's like crazy to think that idea that in this short amount of time, how are so many people infected? Of course, because like the rats and like the different things that happen, but it's nice just to see them question that in game, and I hope they go more in depth with seeing groups of people get affected by this, and it's not just it's only the one survivor soldier making it through the city who has to deal with all this shit.
And aren't they saying that there's going to be a lot of I don't want to say Easter eggs, but things that are going to be tying 3 into 2 a little more hard fashion? Like there's going to be things that happen in 3 that you're going to go, oh yeah, because I remember that in 2. I remember reading something like that. So that's cool that they're kind of more cementing the universe together. And now that they're all running on the Res engine, everything looks good. So Capcom is moving in a solid direction.
Oh, and they announced the date for that. It's April 3rd, 2020. And I actually would like to take credit that in our last one I said...
I'm not giving it to him.
Because he was like, oh, it's late, whatever, and we almost got late. But I said that it seems like it'd probably be an April 2020 game.
So if he nails it on the head, he nails it on the head. But guys, the other one we want to get to, a riff, was Major League Baseball. The MLB The Show was a game from, I forget the date, 1997. Was a game that was exclusive on PlayStation. It is now finally, and it doesn't take place till 2021.
2021.
It's going to go cross-platform.
Going to other consoles is what they've said.
Whether
or not that means Xbox or not. But either way, I think that's pretty crazy because that's something that they've always had locked down. But I think that's a game that, as long as they're making money, it's like Minecraft or like Madden. It's something that I think should be on other consoles. I don't know what the numbers are of people that are buying PS4s just to play a good baseball game.
Well, it's weird because it is a game that's published and developed by Sony exclusively. This is their home team, Sony Interactive Entertainment, with the developing and publishing. So this looks like it's kind of their first step into letting other consoles get a taste of games that are just theirs. How Microsoft has let like a Cuphead go to Nintendo Switch, a Minecraft go to stay on PlayStation. It looks like they're finally branching out because they realize, why not make more money? Like
so I think even with the next game, the Minecraft Dungeons one or whatever, I think that one is a multi-platform game.
Yeah, too, they're still letting everyone get their hands on it.
And so that's I don't think that not every game should be multi-platform. It's important to have your exclusives and keep your environment and stuff like that. I mean, if you want to, then that's fine too. But I can understand the importance of having things like The Last of Us or Uncharted.
But they ran their 22-year course. So, if they're going to open up the window and go, you know what, guys, you can get some baseball, too.
I think a baseball game is a perfect one for something like that.
Right, because it's not like there's other baseball games out there, even though there could be, because I don't think Sony owns the exclusive rights to develop games.
And that's what I'm saying is, I don't know how
MLB teams.
I don't know how many people are buying a PlayStation just for a baseball game that it would cost them that much, whereas I think that would make more money because more people are willing to buy a baseball game no matter what console it's on, and that would be the pros and the costs. Sell a couple more consoles versus whatever, and if it is only baseball, or who knows how many fucking people are dying for a baseball game, because I think there's nothing on Xbox besides like those like jokey like RBI, I forget what it's called, like baseball and shit like that with like the big-headed people and stuff.
But MLB is still a really good selling game, so it would only make sense, and if that's going to be the first game you dip your toes in the water with to let other consoles get outside of like a God of War, a Horizon, a Spider-Man, an MLB game,
to start with.
Yeah, it's a good game to open up that door for. So the next thing, guys, was Final Fantasy VII. Talk to me about it. What's going on with it? What do we now know?
They announced. Well, they didn't announce anything, but they updated the box art on the Square Enix Play site, and it is a 1-year exclusive, unfortunately. So it says console exclusive. Well, actually, it says PlayStation exclusive, and then in small writing for 1 year. And then it says other consoles March 3rd, 2021. So it's weird that it puts a specific date to like that for whatever the reason that it has to be. So it is coming to other consoles, as most people thought. But I just think a year is way too much. I think that anyone who's going to buy it on PlayStation would have done it within the first 6 months, or bought a PlayStation 4 for it. Even if you did 6 months exclusive, a year is just, I think, absolutely absurd. So speaking of people who are mad that buying console exclusivity and blah, 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 I don't see those same people clamoring for something like that, because that is something that should be on everything. And I would have been okay with 6 months exclusivity. It sucks, but yeah, anyone who would have bought, because I don't think a year later, I don't think 10 months down the road, people are like, oh shit, I'm going to go get Final Fantasy and a PlayStation now because now's the time to jump in. They were going to do that within the first couple months.
Well, the only thing I was thinking of is if you buy it on PlayStation, right? on March. You're getting it on the PS4. You wait a year from now and it goes to other systems, you're playing that game on Series X. If you're an Xbox player.
Yeah, and so if anything, that's perfectly fine for me. Go ahead and test it. They'll beta test the game or whatever when it comes out. Who knows whatever bugs. I'll play the final version when it comes out on the X next year.
Yeah, because that's the first thing I was saying. I'm like, okay, well, if you're an Xbox player and you got to wait a year to play it, then in a year from now, I'm going to have the new system. It's going to play at peak performance. And everything that would be a problem with it in the first year when anyone that's playing on the PS4, you got to deal with that. I'm going to get it on the PS4.
Yeah, that was my big question.
I'm getting it day one. There's no question about that.
I'll wait.
That's what the PS4 is for me.
Would you beat it twice? You played again on PlayStation? Or on Xbox?
Well, I guess it really depends on how good it is. If it blows my mind, I mean...
What if it's really good, but it's still a 100-hour game?
Talk to Craig in a year from now, and I'll give you a better answer. But right now, I would say yes. I love Final Fantasy VII enough. It's like, oh, cool, I beat it on the PS4, and then I'll collect my achievements on
I think I'll have to sit out on that episode when we talk about it. Or you'll have to do like a standalone review, yeah.
And I'll just do a cut where I play both of us. So,
almost as if you had a twin.
Oh, man, that'd be awesome. Or a triplet. So, guys, the last thing was one that Andrew brought to my attention because I was completely unaware. What's happening with Redbox?
Oh, yeah. Redbox has announced that they are no longer renting games. They are no longer renting them from the box. They are no longer renting them from the website. They're doubling down and just focusing solely on movies. And you can't even, because before they used to do sales online where you could probably pick up a game for cheaper that they're not going to be renting out or anything like that anymore after, whatever the hot date is. They're not even doing that. The only way that you can actually purchase a game would be directly from a Redbox itself that has that game still. So other than that, they're doing whatever with their shipment and focusing solely on movies. So I thought that was kind of a crazy thing. I personally have never used it. I've seen some people do. I can see how people do that.
Go to stores and I see people Redbox. It's just kind of that last nail that physical media and things like that is just going away.
I think it solves another big problem is because I do see remember we watched that video the other day where the guy's like Redbox has a problem and people replace the fucking CD with a piece of paper or a game that's not that
there's
game.
Too many dickheads out there
and they put it back in. Now that's a $60 loss versus you're renting out a DVD that costs you $15 to $20.
Yeah. Games was kind of where they take the biggest hit on the head if funny business is around. So people pirating or copying or whatever with their games. It's one of those things that, I wouldn't call it like a blockbuster. They were coming and they're gone because I don't think they were around long enough. I can't remember them being around that much longer than like a blockbuster. But those things are just disappearing. We are moving to that age where it's digital and it's... Because Redbox is still an app. You can still... Isn't Redbox still an app that you can get on your Facebook and do all stuff like that? So in terms of going to your local gas station or your Smith's or a Walmart and seeing a Redbox...
Oh, you know what? I did rent a movie, I think last year or the year before that. I rented that Megalodon movie from Redbox with Jason Statham.
Is it good?
Yeah. I thought it was all right.
Did you black out there?
No, my aunt came down and she wanted to watch because we were talking about going to see it in theaters because it just looked stupid and dumb. But we thought it'd be funny, and so we just rented it and watched it at my house. So that is the last time I used a Redbox.
So, see, unlike a Blockbuster, which I don't know if they do an app, Redbox is still going to function. They just know it's a digital space, right? All those kind of vending machine type that they have, it's just going to be gone. And there's no real, I don't think... Unless you're...
Do they have an app online where you can rent a movie and download it?
I'm almost positive. And guys, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure there's a Redbox app that you can just do.
That'd be cool because I know YouTube has stuff like that where you can technically rent or buy or whatever and stream like a movie or something like that.
Yeah, so in terms of a physical thing that someone's going to have to go to, put money in, and the writing's on the wall. Those things are all going to disappear. It's just, unfortunate for them, but we all know what's happening. So... Anything else you want to add on this, Andrew? It was a pretty packed episode. I hope we didn't gloss over too much too quickly, but guys, it's a lot of content. The description will definitely be in there. Definitely go check it out.
Yeah, and either way, go watch the Game Awards yourself. There was a lot of stuff in there. There's a lot of really cool things. And,
Cool, guys. So make sure that you are following us on all the social medias, right? We'll put that up. That's going to be on your Facebooks, your Grams, your podcasts. But before we leave...
picture I got with Shuhei Yoshida.
Yeah, that'll be up.
And Ikumi.
Make sure, guys, that you enter the PlayStation 4 giveaway. We are giving away a PlayStation 4. This butte right behind us. Make sure you watch past episodes and enter. How do you enter? Like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you put hashtag PS4 because next week we give it away.
Yes. Next week we will announce the winner. And again, the easiest way, like I always say, hit the subscription button and the notification button on there. Well, you got to be subscribed. I might say notifications anyway. Yeah, besides the point.
We're going to sniff out all you unsubscribers out there.
Yeah, hit that notification button, though, because it helps me out a ton. And again, our videos, when they get loaded, get lost in the shuffle for me, or they would if it didn't show up on my phone and just say add to watch later list, and boom, 2 seconds, and then I just watch it later on. And I feel like he texts me when the thing's done downloading, and I still have to, if I was doing it normally, would have to scroll through my feed to find it.
That's the kind of guy I am. So guys, until next time, my name is Craig Perales. That is Mandrew Montemayor. Ooh.
Cheers.
Cheers.
You want to wait and see if these people pass?
Yeah.
You too?
Yes, sir.
Hey. You know how to get to 219?
219. Let's see, ours was 316. We came from this way, so I'm guessing up 4-1.
You gotta go past like the 350s and you keep going, but you're just gonna be on the second floor versus the third.
What the fuck? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
this
weird.
place-
Like, we
yeah.
were walking through the 350 40s, and then the next one over was the 310s and 20s. So it's like cross corner.
Yeah, it'll be like 350 and shit like that, and you literally go out and you'll notice a bunch of weird windows. You go into that and it's like a hallway. It's not even rooms. And yeah.
Alright.
This place is a trip, man.
Yeah.
Keep that in the video.
Yes, sir.